Well, we've got details of these and many more coming up in the next 20 minutes. Remember, we're live on DSTV channel 279. You can also get interactive with us. Go on to our social media platform, particularly Facebook, because we are live, as 3news.com. And now let's begin from here. Government's inability to come to an agreement with external creditors to accept a haircut of about 40% has hampered the disbursement of the second tranche of the IMF bailout cash. $600 million was expected to have hit the accounts of the Bank of Ghana on the 1st of November, but did not because the external creditors are not willing to fully agree to a haircut. Whereas negotiations are still ongoing, economists Professor John Gachi and Professor Peter Korte are asking government to review the haircut percentage to get the agreements with the external creditors. Take a listen.
The terms proposed by the government of Ghana is acceptable to creditors, especially commercial creditors, then that would have been a done deal. But since there is no common ground, they need to negotiate their way through. And of course, the creditors are seeing themselves that you have attracted us with a certain level of environment. We agree to give our money to you. We expect you to pay. You have been paying. Then all of a sudden, you have stopped paying. You need to explain to us for us to be convinced whether what you are asking for we should give you or not. And the government of Ghana has not been able to convince them.
We've reached a point where this has to be done, but I think the rate is quite high, and also if investors are going to lose 40% of their principal, that might affect our future engagement. So in the immediate future, if anybody wants to invest in Ghana, that investor might rethink about the possibility of a future default and also the possibility of losing quite a significant proportion of the principal. So in as much as I agree that we have to restructure our debt, we need to bring our debt to sustainable levels, I think the rate is quite high and might certainly affect investor confidence going forward.
Away from issues relating to the economy, let's do a rather sad development. 6 persons have drowned in the Afram River whilst in a boat crossing to a farmland at Azietikopa in the Akwehu Afram Plains South District. Rescue efforts are still underway for a 6th body. Assemblyman for the Jatta electoral area, Johnson Aglensinya, confirmed the figures. 6 other persons were rescued alive. Their victims were part of 12 persons who have been hired to work on a farm across the Afram River. On Wednesday evening, without life jacket, they traveled on a boat on a transit journey, hoping to reach their destination on Thursday morning before the drowning incident occurred. Although water levels have receded, the Afram River volumes are still high and could drown any boat with the least technical challenge. NADMO officials and residents close by the Afram Lake engage in the rescue efforts. A rather sad development, but when we try and retrieve the 6th body, we'll surely update you in our subsequent bulletins. Away from that, government has approved release of 4 million cedis to clear the indebtedness of the Kolebu VNR unit, which until recently had been closed to outpatient. Health Minister speaking in Parliament on Thursday said government was also reviewing contracts it had entered into with suppliers of consumables for the treatment of kidney diseases.
Now is that the Minister for Finance has just approved the disbursement of this 4 million to support our patients in Kolebu. Way forward. To forestall the recurrence of this unfortunate situation, the Ministry, in collaboration with Kolebu and the Minister of Finance, is considering one of the following options: the possible inclusion of dialysis on the National Health Insurance Benefit Package, the granting of subsidies based on proposal received from Kolebu, and the possible review of the tariffs to ensure sustainability of the services. A local team has been trained to provide these services, transplantation services, at reduced cost, and have already undertaken the first few kidney transplantations successfully in country by our Ghanaian doctors. Mr. Speaker, I believe this is the beginning of the government's vision of making Ghana a hub for medical.
Meanwhile, President of Renal Kidney Patients Association, Bafo Kujua Henkra, in showing appreciation for government taking up the 4 million cedi debt, pleaded for government to do more for dialysis patients.
Nobody can sustain kidney treatment because people are on the machine doing 3 times in a week. And so if somebody is even paying 300, 3 times in a week, it's 900. Government should step in. Already, I learned that the government has instructed that the National Health Insurance to make sure they put it on. They should look at it holistically. And then they should make sure when the money is paid, it comes to the NHI so that they can give to the hospital. Not that it will go to the consolidated fund, and when they need the money, some part of money will be given to them. If that one is done, and then the money will be given to the NIC directly, I think it can cater for this situation. And then the government should look at the tax component. The tax component on the consumables is too huge. Because he goes to buy the consumables, he brings it, and then supposed to pay huge tax on it. I mean, definitely it's going to affect us. So government should look at the tax component, and then they should bring more machines. The machines in Kolibu, these 15 machines cannot serve total number about 400.
Now, the West African Examination Council, WAEC, has withheld the result of over 22,000 candidates of the 2023 BEC for various examination malpractices. According to WAEC, investigations have commenced into the cases, after which a decision will be made whether to release or cancel the results. Meanwhile, results of some 41 candidates were entirely cancelled for possessing mobile phones. WAEC on Thursday released the provisional results for the 600,900 candidates who sat for the examinations, with a higher female number of 300,496 against 300,404 males. This figure includes 53 candidates with visual impairment, 366 with hearing impairment, and 54 candidates with other special educational needs. Well, if you just tuned in, you are watching the first news bulletin of the day on TV3 right here on New Day. You can also get interactive with us. Let us know what you make of stories that have been aired so far. Go on to our social media platforms, particularly Facebook. We are live, TV3 Ghana, and engage us with your comments and opinions. Away from that, the Energy Ministry has secured funding for the generation of 22 megawatts of solar power to be deployed to various government institutions and public facilities, including secondary schools and hospitals. Minister for Energy, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, made this known at a press briefing at the Information Ministry in Accra.
I've got money from European Union and KFW for 22 megawatts of government goes solar, where solar is being provided to government or public facilities. I do know that my ministry is busy engaging some of the universities and secondary schools, some of the hospitals to install these solar projects. That becomes like just embedded. If you just imagine the secondary schools we all attended, we use very, very little electricity in secondary schools because we have lights out at 10 and we wake up at 5 or 6.
And our sources at the Binshia Palace say the Asante Hino Tumfo Setu II has summoned the chief of Fiyiase over the felling of the 300-year-old Okomfo Kola tree. It is still unknown who felled the tree, considered to be an enviable Ashanti heritage.
On the main Fiyiase Eputuja stretch stood one of the famous kola trees, but now it is no more. The iconic Okomfo Kola tree was first threatened when the construction of the Asokwa Kontanasi Road began. According to history, the kola tree was planted by the renowned fetish priest Okomfo Anoche. History has it that the tree started germinating after the renowned fetish priest spat remnants of a kola he was chewing on the ground. For 3 centuries, the tree has stood, attracting several tourists. But its lifespan has suddenly come to an end. The iconic tree is said to have been cut down on Monday night, November 6. The chief linguist, Nana Frimpong, described the development as a bad omen. Today is a bad day, and we consider this as a bad omen. We have informed the Santahene. We are yet to make any arrest.
Well, we'll follow up on this very development and bring you updates on the sermon, actually bring you the outcome of the sermon by the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II. And now the Member of Parliament for Dade Kotopon, Rita Adole-Sowa, has passionately appealed to the First Lady, Rebecca Akufo-Addo, to intervene for the reconstruction of the La General Hospital, which was demolished 3 years ago. According to the MP, residents of La and adjoining communities are suffering because accessing healthcare has become difficult. Here's a report by my colleague, Evelyn Tingma.
He said, as a representative of the people of La Dade Kotopon, the absence of the hospital has become a burden on her heart. She said she and her constituents have now become doubting Thomases of the government as several promises made to reconstruct the hospital have not been fulfilled.
We don't believe them anymore. We don't trust the government anymore because it's like they are politicking with the health and the lives of the good people of Dade Kotopon. So they should come clean. They promised to reconstruct it in 2 years. That was from 2020, 2021, 2022. They were supposed to hand over the facility. No foundation has been dug. Are they going to start because elections is around the corner in 2024? And we know that when they start, they cannot finish.
In the 2023 budget presented last year, the reconstruction of the facility was mentioned as part of the Agenda 111 policy, but the MP has questions.
Even the Agenda 111, we have the regional type of Agenda 111, we have the district type of Agenda 111. Which one are they constructing for Dade Kotopon? They have not even come back to the chiefs and people to explain to us that because we cannot construct it, this is the way we want to go. The project has delayed due to this, due to that. The regional minister said November. Minister of Health is coming to Parliament next week to let us know the source of funding. And so, if approval is given, is it feasible that come this November, before ending of November, the contractor is going to move to site?
She agreed to suggestions by some residents of La for government to release the land for them to reconstruct the hospital themselves and appealed to the First Lady, Rebecca Akufo-Addo, to intervene.
I've had several calls, local and international, that they want to support us in the construction of the hospital because healthcare is not about politics. Once again, we are calling on His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and we are calling on his beautiful Rebecca. You are a woman, you are a mother, for Christ's sake. Can you talk to your husband in the bedroom to come to our aid? You've been to Konfanochi Hospital and then you put up something there. What about La General Hospital? You are a Gadangwe woman like me. So I'm calling on her, Madam Rebecca, beautiful Rebecca, wife of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. I've gotten to your doorstep now. If I have to come to your office and plead with you, that speak on behalf of the people of Dade Kotopon.
That's a passionate plea by the Dade Kotopon MP, Rita Adole-Sowa there. And now, former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Abinadapa has, for the second time, urged the Accra High Court to restrain the Office of Special Prosecutor from investigating her. She contends that the OSP has since July violated her constitutional right of being presumed innocent through a series of actions she believes do not arise from any desire to seek justice. She therefore wants the court to halt any investigations till the cases are determined. Madam Dapa has been a subject of investigations in the last 3 months after huge sums of money were stolen from her residence. The OSP believes there could be proceeds of crime and has since been fighting to hold on to various cash sums found in her residence during searches by its officers. The former minister, however, says failure of the court to intervene would mean she will suffer further hardship. Well, 9 years after the Supreme Court ordered the state to retrieve 51.2 million cedis from businessman Alfred Agbesi-Woyome, 18.5 million cedis has been recovered, leaving an outstanding balance of 32.7 million cedis. The Attorney General's quest has been hampered by multiple legal suits filed by the businessman. My colleague Joseph Akable has the rest of the story in today's edition of Ghana Remembers.
Deaths in Ghana. songs were composed by entertainers in an attempt to keep the conversation in the news, demand an end to the trend, and make light of the situation. Politicians had a go at each other on who was to bear the utmost responsibility for causing various losses to the state through breach of contracts.
Communications Director of the party, Nana Kumia, was addressing a news conference in Accra.
Ghanaians should demand the prosecution of all government and public officials who facilitated this fraud, this mistake, this great loot and share.
9 years on, 18.5 million cedis has been recovered by the MPP-led government. The facts surrounding the Woyome matter can be traced to July 2004, when Ghana won the rights to host the African Cup of Nations, which was to take place in 2008. The nation set in motion processes for the award of various procurement contracts geared at rehabilitating and constructing stadia. One of such agreements did not mature into a contract, but the company at the center, Waterville Holdings, had already gone to the site to begin construction. Government decided to set aside the agreement, but opted to allow companies working on behalf of Waterville to continue work on the site. It then decided to pay these subcontractors for onward payment to Waterville. The matter ended up in the court with Waterville Holding and Alfred Woyome, who claimed to have helped government with financial engineering obtaining judgment debts. The Supreme Court in 2 judgments ordered the recovery of the sums, pointing out that the payments were unconstitutional since they involved international companies and hence required parliamentary approval. A view businessman Alfred Woyome disagreed with.
I am not from Azerbaijan, as I've been saying. I'm a Ghanaian. Article 181 is not meant for me. It's not meant for any Ghanaian. A Ghanaian, you do business with your government. Nobody is expecting that the things to be affected by Article 181. It has been defined. That if one day have been explained by the Supreme Court, although not, they are not supposed to do that.
The Attorney General has since 2014 filed multiple legal processes in an attempt to seize cash contained in a businessman's bank account and also sell some properties belonging to him. The sold properties are 2 houses at Trazaco Valley Estates. The auctioneer, however, could not find any buyer for the properties. He therefore applied to National Security to consider purchasing the houses. The National Security paid 8.3 million and 5.5 million cedis for the properties. The Office of Attorney General says it is following various leads to recover the outstanding 32.7 million cedis.
You know, we end this morning's news. For more news updates, just log on to our website, TV3News.com. Bella is standing by to continue with the morning show. Thanks for watching. Have a good morning.